Every word of God is pure, and He will be a shield for all who put their trust in Him. Add nothing to His words, lest He correct you, and you will be found to be a liar. These two last requests I ask, deny me not. Remove all vanity and lies far away from me, and give me neither wealth or poverty, but simply, Lord, grant me enough as I should need.
Hello, thank you for joining me today. To give a recap about yesterday, in Ecclesiastes, we read 1 and chapter 2. We heard Solomon speak of vanity. So this is like future Gwen editing this video to publish, and I realize the definition of vanity is something I want to put into an explanation here, because there's a couple different ways that vanity or vainness or vain are used by God in the Bible. Typically, people think vanity means conceit, self-love, somebody who's fixed to the mirror, always trying to look beautiful. However, do not take the Lord's name in vain has a lot more meanings than just cussing. And it's not just a curse. It's calling out for something or putting an effort into something only to have that effort be pointless. So if you spend all day making a roast and you forget to put the lid on it, and you leave the house to go do something, and the cat gets up on the counter and eats it, you just put in all day working on that roast in vain because you forgot to put the lid on it. You forgot to ensure to hold it in and remember it and follow through on it to fruition. And that's what it means to pursue things in vain. And so when Solomon uses the word vanity, you can also fill in the word pointless, or fill in the phrase without cause, because he's not talking about conceit. He's talking about the fruits coming to a fruition, or rather not coming to fruition and wasting all the effort. And that is what he means by vanity. When he says life is vain, that it's all vanity and it vexes your spirit, it means that it's chasing pointless things that can do nothing for your soul later in life. He says that life is an endless cycle. It will always go on. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth towards the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuit. So it pretty much says that everything in life is on a continuous cycle, everything on the earth. There is nothing new under the sun, he said. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. And then it says the preacher undertakes his study, which pretty much he decided it was time for him to let somebody come behind him and to study and to give his wisdom. And this is probably the years where he wrote these books. He says pleasure and achievement and gain, everything that you can gain on earth is just vanity, and in reality he's right. Any kind of recognition that you get for sports and or singing or in your job, it's all vanity because it gives light to you. It doesn't give light to God, who gave you the knowledge to be able to do those things. And so therefore Solomon chalked it up to vanity because it only goes to you and no further. And he says without God everything is pointless. He says that there wasn't anything in his life that he had that he found that could fill him up the way that God did. He called it vexation of his heart. He said that they would travail and grief and sorrow, and it was from sin. But for God giveth to man that is good in his sight, wisdom and knowledge, and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. That also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So now we're going to pick up in chapter 3. To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to pass away. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to redrum and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, and men should fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun that place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and that place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. And I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them. As the one passeth, so passeth the other. Yea, they have all one breath. So that a man have no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All go unto one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that in his portion, for who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the demised, which are already demised more than the living, which are yet alive. Yea, better is he that both they which have not yet been, who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again I considered all travail, and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together, and eateth his own flesh. Better is an handful with quietness than both the hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. Yea, he hath neither child nor brother. Yet is there no end of all his labor? Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, For whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good? This also is vanity. Yea, it is a sore travail. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old foolish king, who will no more be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I considered all the living which walk under the sun, with the second child that shall stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou shouldest not vow, than that thou shouldest vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin. Neither say thou before the angel that it was an error. Wherefore should God be angry at thy voice, and destroy the work of thine hands? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there are also diverse vanities. But fear thou God. If thou seest the oppression of the poor, and the violent perverting of judgment, and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much. But the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand. As he came forth of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold that which I have seen. It is good and comely for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart.
That which was is now, and that which is to be, has already been. God requires that which is past. Every man should eat and drink the good food of his labor with joy, thanksgiving. It is the gift of God. There is no good in the things of the earth, save that man find reason to rejoice and do good deeds needs all his days. The fool will fold his hands and will not produce fruit. Better is a handful with peace than both hands be filled, and there also be travail and vexation of spirit. To everything there is a time, a season that it shall be done, and all things have purpose. Everything has been beautifully made in God's time, and no man can find out the works he does from the beginning to the end. I know that all God does, it will stand forever. Nothing can test it or take it away. It is done, so men should learn the fear of God. I know in my heart that all in life is vanity. God shall judge both the righteous and the wicked. All go to one place, and all come from the dust, and will return to the dust again. Keep your steps steady when you walk into the house of God. Be more ready to hear than to give the purposeless sacrifice of fools. They do not consider what they do to be evil. Be controlled with your mouth, and do not say harsh things hastily before the Lord. For he is in the heaven on high, and you are on the earth below. Therefore let your words be few. Don't make promises and vows that you cannot follow to an end. For it's best to not vow at all than it is to not follow through at all. As one comes forth without even clothes in birth, shall one return before God with nothing at his end. This is evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go, and with no profit to show he may just as well have chased the wind. Do not deny yourself, children, and family to stand alone, and have nowhere to carry on. Two are better than one, as one lifts the other when the other one falls. But three is really best, because a threefold cord is not quickly broken and no one falls. To everything there is a time, a season that it shall be done, and all things have purpose. Everything has been beautifully made in God's time, and no man can find out the works he does from the beginning to the end. I know that all God does, it will stand forever. Nothing can test it or take it away. It is done, so men should learn the fear of God. I know in my heart that all in life is vanity. God shall judge both the righteous and the wicked. All go to one place, and all come from the dust, and will return to the dust again. That which was is now, and that which is to be has already been. God requires that which is past. Every man should eat and drink the good food of his labor with joy and thanksgiving. It is the gift of God. There is no good in the things of the earth, save that man find reason to rejoice and do good deeds all his days. The fool fold his hands and will not produce fruit. Better is a handful with peace than both hands be filled, and there also be travail and vexation of spirit. To everything there is a time, a season that it shall be done, and all things have purpose. Everything has been beautifully made in God's time, dust again.
And that's where we're going to leave off for today. Thank you, God bless you, and have a great day. They say knowledge is power. Did you know with every episode that I have made for Reading the Bible with Gwen, I have put a question, a trivia question, just one for each episode in the posts. And some of them are for fun, some of them enhance knowledge, and knowledge is power. So if you go into the community section of my page and you hit posts and you go back down, there's more than 100 questions now. You get badges for answering questions. I got one at 50 and I got one at 100, and not very many people post them, but every time I see them I answer them because I have fun with them. So it's worth the time to go check it out. Thank you.
So I do not think I'm for and deny thee and say who is God, or I become poor and steal and take the name of God in vain.